Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. I'm so glad you could join me today. I have a fun little card for you that is a thanks card, and the thing that's different about this card is I've just started to mess around a little bit with these chalk. What are they called exactly? Let's see here. They are called soft pastel assortments, and they are chalk. And so this card has just a little bit of it on here because I'm going to show you one of the techniques for using the chalk in your cards. And then you could take this and do it with any number of things. I made this card very simple. And for the next 3 or 4 videos, what I'm going to do is show you a different way to use the chalk. So this first one is going to start out with a simple design and a group of papers that I've not used before. So let's just get started. Okay, so this is my card, and just to get started, I used the chalk to create the 2 yellow flowers here. And what we're going to do is make this same card today, but we're going to use Poppy Parade as the color for the flowers. So I have my chalks here, and what we need to make this card is a base in Basic White that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then we need 2 pieces of Poppy Parade that are cut 4 by 5 1/4, one for the inside, one for the outside. 2 pieces of black that are cut 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Then I have a piece of this designer series paper that is 3 3/4 by 5. Then I need a piece of white that is 3 3/4 by 5. And this 3 3/4 by 5 we'll need for the inside of the card. Then I have another piece of the Poppy Parade that is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 square. This is more of that designer series paper, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. That is 3 inches by 3 inches, and then this piece of black is 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. Then I have this pattern paper, which kind of pulls everything together here, and I've got these 2 pieces. This is 1 inch by 5 inches. This is a 1/2 inch by 5 inches. This is 4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. And then I've got this little piece that is 2 inch by 3/4 of an inch for our sentiment. The sentiment I'm using is from the hand pen suite. And again, I'm just trying to keep it simple. So that's what I use this time. So what I'm going to do is start on this piece, and we're going to color a few more of the flowers on this one with the Poppy Parade. Now this is the chalk, and what I have is my giant, I think this is an F block, and this is where I was working on the yellow, and this time I'm going to work on the Poppy Parade. So what I'm doing is taking my Take Your Pick tool, and we've got this nice little spatula end here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get some of that chalk down here. That's probably enough. It doesn't take much on my block surface here, and then just put this away and put it aside. Now I've got a tiny drop of water here, and any old paintbrush will do. I happen to have one of our older water brushes here, and I'm going to stick this. I'm using this dry, and I'm just going to get a tiny bit of water on the end of this and put it in my chalk, and I'm going to color the flowers. Isn't that cool? And you can just add the color, and you can make it more or less intense by how many times you kind of go over it. And this is designer series paper, so it's not very sturdy. So I am going to go over it with mostly a dry brush. The little bit of dab of water is mostly just to pick up the chalk. And then it does give it a bit of a medium to stay put on your card. And that's all there is to this coloring. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down some color on my flowers here, and I will be right back. Okay, so that is all there is to the coloring, and you can see, I'm going to bring in another little piece of this paper, and then I'll tell you all about this paper. I'm going to just bring in a little scrap here. If you were to color this and just not re-wet, you can see that your color would be a lot less intense, or if you used more water, you can get more of a watercolor look. And so you can see the difference there between how light that is compared to the ones I was coloring. And for my taste and for this project, I wanted deep, intense color. So I'm using more chalk and less water. Now, the question with chalk, of course, is do you need to use fixative to get it down and keep it down? But I'm going to show you here. I'm going across this with my finger on places where it's dried and have put my finger in it. And for the amount that comes off, I don't think it's necessary, particularly if you're using a wet medium, to put it down. Now, if you're sprinkling just the chalk across, say, a Versamark piece or something, then you might want to add a fixative. Now, fixatives can be purchased, and they're available. In fact, maybe I'll do one more flower here while we're talking. In the old days, when Stampin' Up! Offered chalks before, years ago, I think people used to use something as simple as hairspray to kind of fix things in place, and that seemed to work pretty well. But I'm finding that on this, I really don't think it's necessary to use a fixative, although there are spray fixatives available for people who work in chalk, and probably at a art supply store, online, or one of those kinds of places you might be able to find a chalk fixative. Like I said, I'm probably not going to bother on any of the techniques that I'm going to show you. In some cases, I may turn the image over or put a piece of window sheet to keep it from moving about. In any case, that is all the coloring I'm going to do. And so you see how simple it is. I'm moving that out of the way, and I'm just going to give my surface here a good wipe down, just because we're working in a lot of white here, and I don't want to get, use a little bit of alcohol there to get some of that color up. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now, to put our card together, what we have is, let's see, this piece can go down on the card first. So I'm going to go ahead and add some seal to the back of my Poppy Parade 4 by 5 1/4 piece, and I'm going to set that down on the front of my card. There we go. Then next, a piece of the black, which is cut 1/8 of an inch thinner on all sides. So I'm going to set that one here so that Poppy Parade is just peeking at us out from behind the black. Oh, the paper. Let me tell you all about this paper. This paper is one that's available in the main catalog, and it's called Pattern Party Designer Series paper, and this is a mega pack. There's 48 pieces of paper in this paper stack, and in this paper stack are all kinds of patterns. And so I got it because I like messing and mixing with pattern papers, and I thought I could probably find just about anything I needed in this paper pack. And the thing that's cool about it is it's a colored pattern on one side, and there's like 4 sheets of each of these in here, and then the other side is a black and white print. So this pattern has this on the back, and it just goes on and on. This one has this on the back, and there are, like I say, 48 sheets in this package. So there is just all kinds of papers and patterns. Look at this beautiful black and white gingham. I've already got some plans for it. And then this, I think that Pretty Flowers embossing folder works and embosses out these flowers on this pattern paper. And so you can see there's 4 12 by 12 sheets in here of the black and white with that beautiful yellow floral on the back side. And again, others. So I got all of my patterns that I was using. This one has blue on the back. This one I'm using on our card has green on the back, a granny apple, and then stripes and more different kinds of stripes. Pink, that leopard paper. Then this paper, it just keeps going and going and going. And this is another that I'm using, and it's got that bold stripe on it. Then here is my floral paper, and it's got a different diagonal stripe. And I'm using this paper, which has another kind of diagonal stripe. And it like I said, the paper just keeps going and going and going. And so I just wanted you to know about that. You could buy that one package of paper and have it last you for a year, just using little bits of pattern paper, and the black and the white is one of my favorites anyway. But I thought, so I took this so I could color the flowers, and I think that's going to work beautifully. Now I've got this little piece of pattern paper that's going to go down on the front of my card here, and like this. Then we have these pieces, and what we're going to do is put this piece of black on my Poppy Parade and get that nice 1/8 of an inch bright border there. And then this piece is what's going to go on the front of this. And that paper is all dry. And like I said, there's a little bit of chalk that comes off, but it's not much. And if you were really worried about it, you could put a little piece of window sheet over it. I think that would be very interesting. So I'm going to put this piece of paper right down in here. Then I am going to raise this piece on dimensionals. And Then this piece I'm going to set into place right up here, centered on the top of our card from side to side and towards the top. Then I have this piece of the pattern paper that mimics this but does a little bit of the opposite. And I'm going to get this one set down across here. That's going to go all the way across all of my colored cardstock. Then I have this piece, and I have my thanks stamp mounted and my memento ink. And this piece, like I said, is 3/4 of an inch by right at 2 inches. And that's just the right size to hold this thanks stamp. I'm going to stamp that right in the center. There we go. And then I'm going to put this piece also up on dimensionals. And put that, and I thought this was such a cheery little card that wouldn't this make a lovely set of thank you cards, 4 or 5 thank you cards to give to someone. You could do them in all of the colors here. You could have Bermuda Bay flowers and Highland Heather flowers and blue flowers. And if you got a pattern that had a few leaves, you could add some green, which would be a 3rd color, which would be lovely on here. Okay, so now what I have for the front of this card is I have a couple of these little bumblebees, and I'm going to add those with glue dots. And I'm going to put one on a glue dot and put him right up here on the card, and then maybe one more that I decided needed to go right down here in the corner on this thanks sentiment. And then for other bling, on this one I used those in color gems because they had the yellow. And on this one, what I found were these, which is from the Artistry Blooms sequins, and they're a little darker, but I think they work. If I put them in place in the center of the flowers here that I colored, I think they kind of work. Like I said, they're a little bit darker. And this is going to end up with a few more because I colored a few more flowers. And then I thought, because I put a couple on there, I would add a couple, one down here, and maybe one other one on the top of my card here. And there we have the inside done. Isn't that fun? Okay, so now on this piece, we're going to do that same layer. I know it's a lot of layers, but I'm a layer girl. I love the way they add to the richness of the card, but it's also fun to do some that are single layer cards, and I will do some of those as well. I haven't done one of those Simple to Simply Stunning in a while, and so I promise I'll do one of those as soon as I get through this series using these chalks. How much fun is it to have something new to play with for color? I'm always tickled to death when they provide me something like that. So I'm going to add, oops, of course I run out. Okay, I think there's a rule about running out of tape when you're making a video. But I've got my tape back, and I'm ready to put this piece into place. And we're going to get just a hint of a border around the edge on this piece. There we go. And then I have this piece of white, and I have this little white stripe, which I'm going to put into place right up against the edge of the card. There we go. I think that's right up against the edge. Yes, pretty much. All right, and then this piece of the black and white is going to go right down the middle of that. So I'm going to set that into place at the top and then bring it down to the bottom. There we go. And then add a little snail to this and put this in place on our card. And there we have it. It's very simple, but I think very pretty. They're striking with the black and the white and then the burst of color. I know black and white isn't everybody's favorite, but I think they're kind of a fun card to do, and I wanted to show techniques, and there are several ways to work with this chalk, and I think this is just lovely. I may go back and add a little bit more yellow to a couple more of these flowers on this one. I love the way this one came out. So that is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. This is now July, and so my prize draw for the month of July is the Forever Grapevine bundle. So I've got the Forever Grapevine cling stamp set and the dies, and that's going to be my prize draw for the month of July. And so to get yourself in the drawing, all you need to do is put an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.inkandingenuity.com. So again, that's it for me, and I'll be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye!